Challenge, Season 40. Last night was Episode 3. I watched it. These are my thoughts. You guys, this is your TikTok channel for the challenge. I'm going to be doing recaps every single week. I'll talk about some of the things you want to talk about. The comment section is going to be a great place where we can vent. We can talk about who did what, why we hate that person, why we love that person. This is the place for you. Make sure you drop a follow if you love the challenge. But last night's episode was good. That is exactly what I want out of the challenge. I want the daily. I want the politics, I want all that, and I want the elimination all in one, and I want the good twists. And this season, there are definitely some good twists. But let's go line by line here. To start off, this was a good challenge day, a good daily challenge. It had all four eras going up against each other. Basically, they had to row these boats around an island, and at the very end, they had to put all four seasons of the challenge in chronological order. And Era 3, who I think is a very strong era, and I said at the very beginning, was able to win this challenge. The caveat of this was before the challenge happened, you had to nominate two people who would be your representatives, one male and one female. And nobody knew what this was going to do, but it later turned out that whoever was nominated, and if your team lost, you immediately were going to be one of the people that could be put up to go in elimination. So Tony and Avery for Era 3, they both were representatives, and they were the ones that actually got to choose the other, two of the other six that were going to go down. And I thought it's a really nice twist. It was a lot of fun. And then it got better as the episode went on. Tony, who was just voted in by his own team the previous episode, took it upon himself to be like, you know what? I need to leverage this. I need to get some allies. So he was going to curry a favor with both Era 1 and Era 4 in order to throw a weaker, Era 2 team that had Derek and Aviv. So he was willing to throw them in. The problem was Avery was not willing to. Avery and Derek are really good friends. They've been friends for over a decade, they said, and Avery was not going to flinch. So neither one of them flinched, and you know what happens when that happens? TJ gets unhappy. He sends both of them to the sand. Tony eventually loses his matchup to Daryl, and Avery beats Jody. So unfortunately, Tony's out. But honestly, I understand Tony's gameplay. Tony was already voted in by his own team. He was trying to make friends and get allies on other teams. Otherwise, he wouldn't have lasted long anyway. So this was honestly, people are going to say it was a bad move. I actually thought it was the smart move. He just happened to lose to Daryl, and Daryl doesn't really win a lot of challenges. I mean, he lost to Kylan last year. So then the real twist. I keep saying Daryl, it's Darrell. Now you have Darrell. Sorry, I'm reading his name phonetically, but I know it's Darrell. And you have Avery, and they both won, but then TJ has the twist. He's like, all right, now each of you guys are going to choose targets going into the next elimination. And these targets are going to be the representatives for their team, and basically their team has to win, otherwise they are going to be eligible to go into elimination. And it's just a big game changer, and I love it. So when you win an elimination, you get to choose the next targets. So there's actually an incentive to kind of go in there. So if you're like a Jordan, if you're a Johnny Bananas, if you're a Horacio, you're going to do really well in these eliminations, and you're going to have a lot more power to get people out. So Avery picks her four guys. She picks Derek, Johnny Bananas, Jordan, who volunteers, who's on her team, and Horacio. Darrell picks Anissa, and Anissa for some reason is shocked. Why are you shocked, Anissa? He picks Laurel, which I absolutely love. Get Laurel out of this game. He picks Naya, and then he picks Jenny from Era 4. So all 8 of those competitors are going to be marked. So one of those 8 is going to go home next week. And I actually think this is really fun because now when you go into the daily challenges, there is incentive for your team to win so you don't go down there. And I think that's a blast. But also, if you lose, there's incentive to go down into the elimination if you feel like it's something you can do. That way you can win it, and then you can send whoever you want to go home. I think it's really, really interesting, and it's going to make for a great season. Aside from that, we also got some peak Josh in this episode. You know what, Tori? You're not going to be my friend. I don't like how you make fun of me, and everyone's laughing at me, and you're not a friend. You're not a friend of mine. We already have peak Josh 3 episodes into the season. Great season. Super excited.